All right, we are live. Welcome to JE and T Rising. I'm Ferdinand. We're here with JE, the big homie from Pittsburgh. I'm representing Newport News, Virginia. Stand up everywhere where you from. Throw it in the chat. Shout out Pittsburgh. Shout out Virginia. Shout out DC. Shout out Baltimore. Shout out Miami. Shout out St. Louis. Shout out Dallas. Shout out San Francisco. Shout out LA. Shout out everywhere, wherever you from. Throw it in the chat. Let's hear. What's up, the big what you big homie?
What's going on with you, bro? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, everything's good, man. We shouting out the bird, we shouting out LA, we shouting out the world, man. Today the world gets a shout out.
That's what it is, man. Yeah. So today our topic is who's the best MC, Biggie, JayZ, or Nas, right? So, that's the conversation. We've been having that conversation for a long time. So JE, let me know, man. We know you a real hip hop head. You was around when they was digging in the crates, right? You come from that. You come from that juice era. You was there. You was around. Like tell us about hip hop.
Um, my 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 experience with hip hop and hip hop culture has has been extensive to some degree, but maybe not as extensive as some, because it's based on my experience is based on real. Not to say I know one else's, but I based my experience on just my experience with hip hop, unadulterated and not really tainted. You know what I mean? It's a very pure hip hop experience. And and when you say that, I have to go back to when I first kind of like fell in love with hip hop, you know what I mean? Like for the first time. And I think that's an important thing to kind of understand. And then I'm like the Where's Waldo of hip hop. I pretty much did a lot of things. Like I rapped, we did a lot of things, but we was rocking bad boys jackets that nobody had back in high school. We had a manager named Lori who was parlaying some stuff with us for Bad Boy back in the 90s. You know what I mean? And so we was definitely on some stuff. That was me. And shout out to Chaos. We was rough and rugged. Shout out to F3, all the Homewood homies, Rock and Raj, Icy Ed,
Shout out Homewood.
yeah, shout out Homewood, you know what I mean? Shout out to bro. I remember, let me just speaking of that, man, like Pittsburgh had some, like if you was in the hip hop, I was into my local hip hop, you feel me? Like, but back in the day in the 90s, there was a lot of like, it was like a lot of gangs and whatnot, you know what I mean? So you listen to what was synonymous to your area. So I was Northside Homewood, so we as I guess they was Blue Crips or whatever it may be. So you kind of like stuck to that, to that realm of who you were listening to at that time. So, but and you kind of you didn't hate, but you kind of like didn't really acknowledge anybody else. It was like, we just want to rock with our peoples. I do want to shout out people like Melly Mel or the Mailman. He was in the hill. I mean, freeze MCs, dollar emergency, the M to the E to the L to V, like like ROCK, the MS. I'm gonna be 100 with you. I never really liked this cadence or nothing like that, but it was good. Like it was back then. As corny as I thought it was back then is as dope as I thought it was. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. We just had like a different type of freeze. MCs, dollar emergency, the M to the E, the L to V. And then you had homies
bring that nostalgic views back.
Yeah. But then you also had like when it came down to Pittsburgh hip hop, you had homies like Infinite, like Gene, like from Homewood as well. This dude he was giving bars like for each and every one of them who thought they was my caliber. Nigga, chill, I'm rougher than Chinese algebra. This nigga was saying that shit back in 91. You know what I'm saying? Early in the game. So Gene Infinite, when it comes down to lyricists and Pittsburgh hip hop lyricists, I'm going to say that, just like I will put Black Thought, and we'll talk about that a little later, but like I will put Black Thought on that high level. I'll put Gene up there because the homie was just dope. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny the dopeness. Then we had Tuffy Tough Ghetto Sound Check. Like we had some stuff, man. Like Pittsburgh was really dope, and that was enough to fall in love with then. And then me and my friend, we made our own contribution to hip hop. A lot of people don't know that we had a group called Rough and Rugged. Rock and Rashi was producing. You know what I mean? So we was on that, bro. We was definitely on that type of time, and being on that type of time was, you know, me and Chaos, we had our dope stuff because Chaos was messing my bro Ramaj. Me and Jamar met each other. I'm going through my whole hip hop life. I don't know why I just like this, my whole, because I'm going somewhere.
Well, let me chime in for a second.
I got to tell her because I got to validate my love for hip hop. You feel me? And so that
Right.
in validating that, then you can see where I'm going when it comes to our conversation of who's the best. You feel me?
Got you. Okay.
So to make a long story short, me and him and I had a group, Rough and Rugged, and we had some dope ass songs. We was doing some stuff, man. So I don't think we never really like released it hard, but we definitely did some good work with that. Shout out to Rock and Rosh and F3. Then there was Kato. There was so many people that were just rapping back in the day. But here's not really fell in love with hip hop. Shout out to Black Steel. He's like a DJ here in Pittsburgh. Super dope DJ, man. Black Steel's the best. He had like a hip hop show on TV and everything, man. Black Steel. I'm just shouting out all my Pittsburgh hip hoppers because I don't think those people get the necessary flowers that they deserve. So Black Steel, he was at WPTS, which was the college radio station at the University of Pittsburgh. And that night they would play hip hop on Friday nights. But if you was on the north side, you could barely get it. You know what I mean? Because you had to like tune your radio just perfect. It was like what was it? 87, 97.5, 87.5. I forget what it was, but it was the hip hop show. It was the premier hip hop show in Pittsburgh. It was underground. And so I actually was a host on that show. Like people don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? That was actually one of the hosts. We had my aunt calling and everything. We was having some fun with that. You know what I mean? Back in the day, that was definitely some fun. I forget my co-host. I can't remember his name. I have to ask Adam Black Steel, who was the guy that I was actually on the show because I cannot remember his name right now. But who
was your GOAT that you was trying to tell us who your GOAT was?
The greatest of all time.
Absolutely. Who's the best MC?
No, I gotta get to that, bro. We gotta ease into that. Like I'm not gonna get that to you right now. We got time. You know what I'm saying? You trying to rush it, bro. Chill out. We could calm down. I get there. You know what I'm saying? So the bro was so we did the radio show. So all these things, but the reason why I wanted to be on that show is because when I was a kid, when I was younger, I had this little radio. This radio was like it was a tape, radio, and TV. Dope shit, bro. And I was recording my little stuff. My mom got it for me for Christmas. It was off the hook. So I will record off the radio. And I'm the type of guy, my love for hip hop was Friday night videos, waiting all night on NBC, like in 85, waiting all night for one hip hop song to come on. Be mad, then come on, bro. Like I would be on Friday night videos. That's all we had. We MTV, you know what I'm saying? If you had NBC, you had Friday night videos, bro. And we had Solid Gold, some other stuff. We going back in the 80s. But when you like, I would wait, and then I would see about 2 minutes of Rock This Way from Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? It'd be mad, like then it'd be the credits. Like, bro, I've been here all night waiting for y'all to play some fly shit, and y'all gonna play it. You know what I mean? So I'm not deep into hip hop. You feel me? So when I heard trying to find WPTS, that's why it's so important. The University of Pittsburgh College Radio is because now I really fell in love with hip hop. Is when I really finally dialed in that radio station. I was younger. I finally dialed it in, and then what I heard was made me fall in love with hip hop. I heard calling our cars, be on the lookout. Then I heard, no rapper can rap. Nigga, I'm done. At that point, I'm sold on hip hop. Whatever that dude's doing, I'm here for life. Like that was it. You know what I mean? And then from there, I just started buying all type of tapes. I bought Just Ice and I didn't even know who to buy. You ain't hear about it. You ain't know what it was. Just know somebody was rapping. So you just So I bought Just Ice, and Biz Markie was my guy, and Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. That began the nightmare on my street. You got the body, and now I got the brain. You know what I'm saying? That's Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. The last album was up, y'all, but here we go again. Boop, 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 boop. So you know, so all these, this is, you feel me? So this is hip hop. Cool. See, I gotta have. I don't know why I'm showing all these Philadelphia rappers. I was like the straight of Philadelphia rappers for a minute there. Cool. See, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. I guess it's kind of going with the theme, right? Who's the greatest? So all these little different things was happening. All these dope ass songs was coming out, like stuff. And then you saw Fresh Prince on NBC. I'm like, what? Now we got hip hop on TV, baby. Let's go. So all this is, you just start seeing things. And then when I heard Mobb Deep, I promise you, and it was like 91, 92, the first Mobb Deep album. When I heard Mobb Deep, I literally wanted to jump in the car and go to New York and join whatever gang whatever they was doing. I was trying to be a part of that. They was the hardest dudes I ever heard rapping, bro. Like, these is two little young niggas is rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mobb Deep was hard. So it's just, and then Tupac came along with the Valid, just because they play what the people want. And then Souls of Mischief. I was into all type of rap, bro. Like, I'm well-rounded. Like, I like East Coast, West Coast, whatever. If it's dope, it's dope, period. But Souls of Mischief 93 Till was still banging to this day. Like, that's just still crazy. So all these little things was coming out, which led me to the GOAT conversation. Like, everybody is like, there's MCs that will inject themselves into the GOAT conversation because they have to, because it's a competition, right? It's a competitive sport, rapping. So you have to feel like, if you're going into it, that you are the best. Why would you not be the best, or at least describe yourself as that? So I would have to say every rapper coming out would think that they are the greatest of all time. LL still thinks he's the greatest of all time. I just say, at the time I heard I'm Bad, that was the greatest shit I heard. But today, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'll listen to some LL on some stuff, but is he on my playlist that heavy? He may got one or two songs. You know what I'm saying? And for nostalgic sake, I'll bump on some LL. But when you look at the overall breakdown of who's the best, to actually get to the point, I wanted to qualify my statement by kind of giving some hip hop, giving some shout outs, and kind of just let people know that I really, we do this hip hop thing for real. I had to come to, it all came to a head. I said, I gotta be able to pick one guy who can, if the aliens came down from Earth, if the aliens came down from the heavens, and they were looking for our guy, like, who's the guy? Who's y'all guy that y'all gonna put out here and be to represent all of hip hop? You know what I'm saying? Who would you send? And this person is going to save, the day. Like, this person, whoever you send, is going to be the guy who is going to save humanity. We need just one MC, one rapper, one guy, just one who we can send to save humanity. And they want a hip hop artist, they want a rapper. And if this dude don't perform well, they got somebody. They're saying, we got a guy up here. You know what I mean? We don't even got no lasers, no bullets, or nothing.
So who's your guy?
If I had to send one person to save humanity in a rap off against aliens, nigga, I'm sending Black Thought, Malik Trotter. Hands down.
That's what's up. All right, so Black Thought, I'm with that. You know, when I think about hip hop, I love the stories. I love the stories that you gave, telling us about Pittsburgh in hip hop history. You know, it's beautiful to hear the zeal in your voice, because I think that we got people like yourself in every city. You know, we've got so many different cities that connect in the hip hop game, you know, that have all had their contributions. And Pittsburgh is definitely one of them. You and I, we were just talking on a private phone call about when I came up to school up there at Point Park, and Wiz Khalifa was doing his thing, you know, and this was right before he got signed to Warner Brothers, you know. So Pittsburgh definitely doing his thing. You know, when I think about the best MC though, right? The best MC. I think about that in terms of decades, right? I don't see like a best MC overall, even though there might be one, right? And I know everybody's got different perspectives on this, right? But
Yeah.
I look at it like, you and I, we were talking about how rap started in like the 60s or the 50s or whatever. And
Yeah.
then and then it elevated in the 70s. And then obviously it kind of manifested into what it started to become in the 80s and then the 90s and the 2000s, 2010s. And then we see what it is now, which is, something a little different. But it's hip hop, it's art. So when I think of the GOAT, let's say for the 80s, one name, Rakim. When I think of the GOAT of the 90s,
So just
one
just
name,
just so I can
one name.
just so we can be clear. So you're not picking out just one goat. You are picking out goats per era or per decade.
Well, that's the reason why I was saying that there hip hop has changed over the years. That's why I was saying that it's like eras in basketball. It's almost impossible to compare eras. You can if you want to, but most of the time it doesn't actually make sense, especially if you're trying to compare, let's say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with Michael Jordan, right? Well, as far as accomplishments, 6 rings versus 6 rings, but that's a center who had a hook shot, and then you got another guy who was known as Air Jordan dunking on people and stuff. Defensive player of the year a couple times and stuff like that, right? Or one time or whatever, right? But my point is, it's almost impossible to really compare eras. So when you think about hip hop, I think you got goats of eras, right? So the 80s could be an era. That's Rakim. That's the God MC of the 80s, at least in my book. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the big homie Rakim, the GOAT, the GOAT of the hip hop in the 80s, right? 90s. 90s is Tupac, and there ain't nobody close. Ain't not a one other person close. It's Tupac. Um, when we talk about the 2000s, man, that's hard, man. That's really hard. Like if album sales holds a lot of weight, then we're talking about the homie Eminem, But if we're talking about a full culture connection, a movement, music that was dope, and what they're doing in so many other spaces. Um, we're talking about 50 Cent for the 2000s. And for the 2010s, I would say that the GOAT is Drake. I'm not necessarily saying that lyrically he's just better than anybody else, but when it comes down to consistency and impact in the culture, whether for good or for bad, it's either, you know what? Oh man, you know what? I gotta really go back and look at that 2000s. God MC. Yeah. Oh man, I'm thinking about Kanye right now.
I mean, that's definitely an option there. You definitely
Oh man,
could get it out.
that's hard right there. Like Kanye. Oh, it's like I mean, honestly, for me, bro, for the 2000s, it's a tie, man, between 50 and Kanye. 2010s is definitely Drake.
And oddly enough,
Um,
they had that. Remember, Kanye and 50 Cent had that little face off to see who could sell the most
yeah, man,
the
yeah.
weekend.
Before the
Kanye held his own.
2020s, I would say that for the 2020s, I would say that it's really up for grabs on who the God MC is. But like if I had to pick one overall God MC out of everyone, right? It's it's Tupac.
If the aliens hovered their spacecraft above the Earth, and similar to David and Goliath, they said, "This is our champion," and they come from the planet Ramalot, where that's all they do. They talk and rhyme. And so they say, we have all the weaponry to take over y'all little planet. But if you can pick one person to go against our champion and hit this person wins, then we won't have to even resort to lasers or nothing. We'll just
Um,
we'll retreat. And you're telling me you're going to send Tupac?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Like if I when I think about somebody saving somebody, I'm not necessarily looking for the person who, has the most skill to save somebody in hip hop. I'm looking at the person with the proper attitude to save people, and that was Tupac. Now, I would also say that's Rakim, maybe, definitely Chuck D, and definitely KRS-One, and a couple of other rappers. But see, Tupac, he was strategic, but he was also tactical. See, there's a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, and
Mhm.
in that book, he talks about the how you have various types of leaders. You got strategic leaders, you got tacticians, and then you've also got the rarest one of all, the one who is the strategist and the tactician, right? And I would say that amongst all these different names, in my opinion, Tupac is the rare one.
Well, let's start to quantify that. Okay, so now for that to be quantifiable, we have to be able to find some type of way that we can. Because you're saying Tupac, I'm saying Black Thought. I'm clear as you are of my decision, and I can back that up. And I feel like if you look at cultural relevance and just we gotta come up with a criteria. And I have a dope ass criteria. And the beautiful thing is I actually had a chance to meet Black Thought, and it was a very inspiring moment to say the least. Because I read his book, the Upcycle Life, which is go get that if you have a chance to definitely grab that. I had the audio book and the book, two books. So definitely supported that. And shout out to One Hood as well. One Hood had an opportunity to have him come to Pittsburgh. And so in that had an opportunity to exhort, to share. And so I'm gonna kind of give you a little bit about what I share. I'm gonna just give you um a little bit from what I share to the bro. And and so I said if you add every rhyme that was ever wrote, divide that by every MC that ever spoke, and the above average sum, you'll get this: Black Thought, the title to your top list. And so I think I gotta explain that just a little bit because I feel like at some point you may not understand what I'm saying when I say the title to your top list. I'm saying that he's the God MC, so you put him at the top. So that means that any list that you make, Black Thought's going to be there. I'll even sign a petition that should say that then your top list should be called Black Thought. Your Black Thought top, your Black Thought did it five, your Black Thought top 5 dead or alive type shit. You know what I mean? I feel like the whole rating system should be just called Black Thought. So when you start, you can start with your Biggie, JayZ's, Nas, your Kendricks, Drake's, or or whoever else.
Well, you were saying that you had a quantifying system. Like, tell us about the quantifying system.
So you have to. So let's talk about that. So now the first thing is everybody says sales. Like the first thing you say, but this person sold so many records. This person sold so many records, and I say that record sales is something that can be dialed in. That's marketing, right? And we know that we don't necessarily control marketing. You feel what I'm saying? Like there's just publishing. There's people who have already established. You know that when certain stories go viral, that it's not because of us. You know what I'm saying? It's because there's systems that have already been set in place to be able to promote and market things in a very specific way. So we talk about album sales. I don't think if we can, I don't think that should be the primary. I think you can definitely add that, but I'm not sure that holds too much weight because we would have to say who's buying the records, and so then those people who are buying the records will shape what's being put out. We know that we're for the most part 70% of album sales is not by us. White people buy 70% of 70% of music sales is not the people who create the art. I'm trying to tell you, it's not from the culture, not or demelanated people. So when you look at that, then what you're saying about album sales is that these people are now shaping the culture through their purchases. And so from what they want to hear is what they're going to buy. And so that's going to break down into what's being promoted. You know, so when we talk about album sales, that's just superficial. I don't think that you can put that down. That's definitely an identifier, but I don't think it just stops there. Like we're gonna say this person sold this many albums. So this is the reason why.
What are your other part of the quantifying?
You have to look at cultural relevance. You have to look at longevity. You have to look at impact on the culture, and you have to look at just the overall body of work. I think overall body of work speaks for itself as well. I think to me, it's the overall body of work. I think that should be the highlight of everything is the overall body of work. Now you have people like Sahai the Prince, who I feel is one of the greatest MCs that people don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? You have people like him who may not have all the records, but he has a lot of mixtapes and he has done a lot of like MC battles. Like, you know, you have to put your rounds on display, and you can do a search for Sahai the Prince and show that the bro been putting in work. Not only has he been putting in work, but a lot of the rounds that you've heard on the radio, he's ghost wrote those, especially when it relates to Kanye West. So now we look at that. He doesn't have the overall body of work, but he has a very unique skill set that puts him in the conversation that may throw him above everybody, especially when you consider No Dope on Sunday, which in my opinion is the greatest hip hop album ever made. And I'll argue that too. You know what I'm saying? We can argue that as well from the turbulence. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. That's when you hear that, you know. If you're side high, if you know about No Dope on Sunday, you know what I'm talking about. Turbulence. When you hear that, you know what you're talking about. If you know type shit. So and that whole album is a masterpiece, something that you can listen to all the way through, travel to it. I've done that. You know what I mean? So when you have people like Sahai, it's honorable mention. I almost thought about him being the god, but at the end of the day, he can't be, because he's not really. I can't say that he is that, because hold on a second. I'm my head. Because of overall body of work. So I didn't disqualify him. I just put him in honorable mention because the overall body of work just isn't there. Now, but if you look at his ghostwriting and all the songs he's done through that, then it could be. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at a Black Thought from the Roots and all the music they've made, we look at how not only he talked about his extensive touring in Europe and him being the only MC in the band and just having to assert himself and assert his skills in that moment. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like this is you talking about a person who wasn't like what you would call an industry plant, somebody was just planting in. No, this person got it from the mud. He got it. You know what I mean? He basically went with nothing and then built his way up and then qualified himself through the work that he put in. And that is still putting in, because he's been on Jimmy Fallon with us for like 15 years. I didn't even know he's been on that long. That's somebody on your TV pretty damn near every night. Fresh flows. You know what I mean? Doing this thing. And he's showing off all different levels of creativity. He's acting. I mean, we talk about that. I mean, I don't see how you to me personally, as I thought about it hard, I don't think that you can disqualify Black Thought as being all time. I just that because just the cultural relevance, the overall body of work, still making records. We know that we've heard that the Roots is coming out with a new album. He got new albums coming out. He ain't stopping. And the Roots Fest is every year. You know what I mean? So I don't know, bro. I don't know. I do know. And what I do know is that the greatest of all time is Black Thought when you quantify cultural relevance, overall body of work, and what it was, and it's like, what have you done for me lately? And I'm going to put out my equation, you know what I mean? But the main equation to qualify to go is this: you add every rhyme that was ever wrote and divided by every MC that ever spoke, the above average, and the above average, you'll get this. Black Thought, the title to your top list. He can't even be numbered. He's enumerable. You can't even number the bro. You can't say he's number one, number two. He's none of that. He's just the top of it. You just Black Thought, then you start everything else. He's the title. It's like the title to your book. Then you write the book after that, but the title leads it all. Title's got chapters. Like everything else got chapters and all that, but the title's the title.
Yeah, I respect your choice.
A break. I didn't even. We gonna have a part 3. I'm gonna come back with the equation. Like so the initial equation is define the average, right? That's what we was talking about earlier. So we have to.
I thought you was about to tell us the equation.
I want to tell me about the. So check it out. So you want to be able to. So you got to get 1. So in the average. So if I wanted to find the average amount of money that kids are bringing to school for lunch every day, what I would do is I would take 10 students, and I would see every day what they brought. You know what I mean? How much money they brought. Then what I would do is I would add up the amount of money that they brought. You know, that's the total. And then I would divide that by the 10 kids. And then I would have
is your equation hypothetical, or do you actually have an actual averages equation that you use to bring, to tell us about how you're making Black Thought the number 1? Because right now, it's sounding like there ain't no equation.
There's the equation. I think there's a SaaS product coming as a result of that, but I don't want to put that out there yet. But I'm saying there's going to be a real quantifiable way that you can type in and then find it all out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, gotcha.
You can make a decision for yourself. But for making an average, and we're talking about how much students are bringing to school each day. After I divide the amount by the amount of students, and I get the average. And the average is the mean, right? So on average, children bring $5 a day. $5 a day. Now there may be some students who bring $10, and there may be some students who bring $1, but they all added to the equation. So when you talk about Black Thought, it's just everybody in the mix they all add up to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they didn't have an input. We are in my mind, I'm including everybody. So my thing is, if you just to generalize it, just take every word that was ever wrote, that every rhyme that was ever wrote. That's every rhyme that you know about and don't know about. Everything. These are words that we now must add up. So now we add up all those words. Those words could be trillions of words. And then you divide that by every MC that ever spoke. Then you divide that. And so now you have the average. But in this case, it's the above average. It's the person you put on top. It's the person you lead the way with. It's the person you send and say, "Hey, this is our champion." Y'all got.
I think the only thing that Tupac doesn't have on Black Thought is longevity, because he didn't live long enough. Of course, he's going to have a larger body of work. He lived longer, but when you talk about actual body of work based on time in the industry, he's killing Black Thought with ease. It's not even close. But what he did in a 5-year stretch of time, like it's not that right there.
But what you just said made no sense. You said overall time in the industry when Tupac is clearly no longer in the industry. Then you can't put that.
What you're saying doesn't even make sense. I'm saying his overall time.
Exactly.
What I'm saying to you is Tupac's overall time in the industry was like 4 or 5 years. Okay, Black Thought's time in the industry is like 30 years or something like that. So when you can't, when I say that the only thing he has on him is longevity, is time in the industry, in my opinion, that is the only thing he has on him. Outside of that, he's not even close to Tupac. But when you add in that he's still in the industry right now, that's one of the things that kind of gives him, in my opinion, that ability for you to even throw him into this conversation. But if Tupac was still alive, I don't think that Black Thought even makes it into this conversation at all. Not even in the top 3.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But we're gonna speak on what's really going on. We're gonna speak on what's happening. You feel me? We can come up with a million scenarios. It is what it is. We have to go with what's going on right now.
I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you based on what's going on right now too. I'm not coming at you with necessarily hypotheticals. I'm going off of the body of work that Tupac put out while he was alive. The body of work that he put out while he was alive, his work alone is more impressive than whole record labels.
The cultural impact, I would say, because the vitriol he caused or was a part of with the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, that kind of like gripped the whole nation. That was a big deal. he had a lot of things going on with that. So I can say that he definitely was impacted. I'm not saying this from a person who's not.
A lot of things going on with that. So I can say that.
Sorry about that. Sorry. I'm
not coming from a person who's not a fan of Tupac. Like I said, I had Tupac the early albums. You feel me? Strictly for my niggas. No, I mean that was my joint. Violent, all that was my. We played that joint.
I don't think that you're going against Tupac at all. I think that you're for Black Thought, and I'm not against Black Thought. I love what you had to say. All I'm saying is when you talk about bodies of work, Tupac has the most impressive body of work in all of hip hop, and it's not even close.
I hear what you're saying. So
he has the most impressive collection of work in hip hop in a short time span, in a 4 to 5 year time span, and there's nobody close. Nobody did what he did to impact the culture in that short amount of time. That was he did basically like the equivalent of what Allen Iverson did throughout his whole basketball career. He did that in 4 years.
And what 4 years
in hip hop?
And what 4 years was that?
It doesn't matter which 4 years. All you got to do is go and look at it. Look at his catalog. His catalog of music, movies, and other projects is that impressive within a 4 to 5 year period of time.
I'm talking to a genius in Ferdinand, so I figured like Ferdinand had all that information ready to go. Ain't nothing but a Google search. Because if you're talking about he had the most impact on that 4 years, then now I need to know what 4 years those are, so we can be able to find who would oppose that view.
You got the computer right there. Go ahead and do the Google search. You don't need me to do it. I just told you it's 4 to 5 year stretch. It's a 4 to 5 year stretch of time where Tupac was dominating hip hop. This is a known fact. This isn't something that you need to Google, but if you need to, go ahead and Google it.
I was there, bro. Like the fuck. I was
okay. Well, then you understand that Tupac dominated hip hop for 4 to 5 years, and that's a fact.
Bring the facts, nigga. That's what I'm saying. Bring everything.
I just brought the facts. The facts are that Tupac dominated for a good 4 to 5 year stretch before he died. If you want to know those years, go Google it. You got the computer right there in front of you. You don't need the information from me.
I got all
you can Google whatever.
I'm ready for that.
Other than Tupac, close my door. Other than Tupac, I would say that LL Cool. Other than Tupac, I would say that LL Cool J. Other than Tupac, I would say that LL Cool J is got to be in that conversation. I know that he kind of became the ladies rapper or whatever, but the longevity is important in this conversation. You know, like unless a person dies, we've got to look at people who got careers that have lasted longer. Because I think that, you know, one of the things that you said the other day when we were talking is we got to be all inclusive when we're talking about this GOAT MC conversation. It's got to be about more than just lyrical ability. You even said the album sales got to be a part of this.
No, we talked about album sales. Remember, we talked about that album sales because some people will put album sales as number one, and that said that it could be a part of the equation.
No, man, what I'm saying is when we talked, you said that everything is all inclusive. I'm not saying the album sales was number one. What I'm saying is you said don't take anything out. Don't take out album sales. Don't take out this. Don't take out that. So what I'm saying is if album sales is inclusive with this, and longevity is inclusive with this and all of that, right? Well, maybe that takes Tupac out of the runnings, but I don't think it should because he died. If he would have if his sound would have just kind of died out and people just didn't mess with it, mess with his music anymore, that's one thing, right? But we got to look at his situation based upon the time that he lived, and the time that he lived, he was the freaking Michael Jordan of hip hop. And there's nobody close.
I mean, we can argue that. That's arguable. You know what I'm saying? So my
who else was dominating during the time of Tupac? Who else was dominating around that time?
I'm waiting for you to identify what Tupac's time was. I'm still lost on that. I don't know what
early
the time
90s,
was.
bro. Early 90s. Well, I just did early 90s.
Ice Cube. Like there was something. I mean, come on, bro. There was some people dominating. Then Nas, nigga, come on, bro. Like the Roots was out during that time. Like there was a lot of
Nas wasn't dominating in hip hop then.
Busta Rhymes was out during that time. Leaders of the new school. Like there was so much
Busta Rhymes was.
And Tupac was almost like independent around that time, to be honest with you, bro. Like he was like, you had to find a Tupac album, bro. Like I'm Sam Goody age, where you had to wait in line to buy a tape. You feel me? And then if that tape wasn't there, you had to look at all the Sam Goodies until you found that shit. Like it wasn't Spotify, it wasn't Apple Music. It was like you had to go actually get the tape. So I was around during that time, and I know exactly what was there was heavy Mobb Deep was around that time. The same time Mobb Deep's first album was around the time Strictly for My Niggas came out. So you had niggas you had rappers, MCs that was really rapping. You feel me? And
but who you're calling out doesn't sound like competition to Tupac during that time. It doesn't sound like competition, and that sounds like they were people who were out during that time. Like Mobb Deep was out during that time. They had some dope songs. They made a big statement in hip hop, but were they competing with Tupac? Absolutely not. Like Tupac took out a whole record label with one song called "Hit 'Em Up."
Arguably.
What? It's the greatest diss track in the history of hip hop.
It could be. I think you missed Ether along the way.
Ether isn't what Hit 'Em Up was at all. Not even close. Sorry.
It's widely acclaimed as the #1 battle rap song of all time. And
that's from a bunch of people who are younger. The people who truly know hip hop. If you're looking at a battle rap song that went viral, it is Hit 'Em Up, and there isn't anything close. Not freaking the Ruler's Back, not Ether, not none of that. Ain't nothing above Hit 'Em Up. You can, if you want to, you can go ahead and play them. You can play the music videos, both of them, and we could do a poll, and we can have the people rate it. And I can almost guarantee you, after most of them ain't even seen the video for years, or they ain't seen it at all. And once they see this video, they're gonna be like, "Yo, man, Ether was definitely that." It was fire, man, but Hit 'Em Up was something different, bro. And it was something different. Nobody had ever seen no shit like that before, and ain't been no battle rap song yet to be anything close to it.
I respect your opinion. I would disagree.
Well, all right, so what battle rap song would you say it is above Hit 'Em Up? You say Ether, right? Any others?
Ether, the Takeover. You gotta go with the mainstream ones of people. I mean, because of the level of insight that was put into making that whole Ether thing happen. The Takeover, JayZ did some things, but that was a good era in hip hop. We didn't even talk about the 50 Cent versus Preem, that whole diss album record that he did. That was just a local hood gangster dude. He was battling, but that was he was coming out dude super heavy. There's so many different battle rap songs. There's songs that I won't even know about too. There's a lot of West Coast things that was going on as well. There was with No Vaseline. Come on now, bro. No Vaseline. Fucking Ice Cube. Niggas getting fuck with No Vaseline.
I'm not saying that we don't rock with it. I mean, I'm from Cali, bro. I live in Virginia. I'm from Cali. We rock with Ice Cube's music, but keep in mind, man, Ice Cube was not Tupac. He wasn't Tupac. Like Tupac. When you talk about West Coast rap, right? You got a whole bunch of people out there. Like I said, I'm from Cali.
He's from Baltimore, New York, bro. Like that's where Tupac is from. Baltimore, New York.
I know exactly where Tupac is from, but where he put his music out from was in California, right? I was actually there when it happened. That's why I can speak on this, right? I lived in the Bay Area. I was there. Like my sister's godfather's name is Stan Burrell. His stage name is MC Hammer. Right, I used to sit next to Vanity or whatever her name was in church. What I'm telling you is I'm from that area. So no matter where Tupac might be from, he was representing California during that time. There's a really famous song that he has. It's called California Love. Well, why was he doing that? Because he lived there. Because he represented the West Coast while he was there. That's just facts. I know he went to high school with Jada Pinkett in Baltimore. I already know all that. That ain't got nothing to do with the conversation. The conversation is about who has the best battle rap song.
Well, the conversation started off with the greatest of all time. Now we're talking about the battle rap song, and we're talking about the battle rap song including Tupac. And I have to tell you that Tupac that I'm not an anti-Tupac person. I'm a Tupac fan. Like
Just tell us who has the best battle rap song. You said No Vaseline?
I just gave you a whole list of battle rap songs. Ether.
No, I'm not asking for a whole list. I'm asking for your one battle rap song that
Ether. I said that about 5 times already, bro. Ether, Nas.
All right, cool.
That's that. I'm gonna stick with that, bro. And I'll put that up against anything. Put Ether against Hit 'Em Up.
I think
put Takeover against Hit 'Em Up. Put No Vaseline against Hit 'Em Up. All those joints is crazy. All those joints are super crazy, bro. They're just super crazy. But when it's all said and done, we have to talk about content, right? And that's why I can rock with a Tupac band, and even in the conversation has been the greatest. But are you not even considering Biggie, JayZ, or Nas, and also understand that Biggie, like JayZ said he was one of the greatest alive. That was his first album. He was just kind of like manifesting that. So he really wasn't like, he was Jazz's old homie back. You know what I mean? Who's the greatest alive, Biggie, JayZ, or Nas? Like, nah. You know what I mean? So he kind of like he subconsciously put that into your mindset to make you feel like, oh, he's dope. And I think one thing that JayZ does have is the ability to be able to think of lyrics from the top of his mind. Am I a big JayZ fan? No. But I think when it comes down to battle rap songs, Takeover was ill. You know what I mean? And so was Ether.
Ether was, I'm bigging up my brother. That's called plagiarism. And he can't be on the list for that.
Who?
Jay.
Plagiarism for what?
Jay been biting verses his whole career.
Oh, hell yeah.
Matter of fact, Cameron just did a whole interview or whatever about all of this. Jay, obviously he's in the title of this podcast, right? But Jay's not on that list of the GOAT MC. You can't be the GOAT MC when you're stealing other people's rhymes.
He would say paying homage, and I hear that because throughout my day as a hip hop head, I would quote so many hip hop songs. Me and you were talking. We're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. You got the body and I got the brain. You know what I'm saying? Like it just those different quotes that you just kind of find throughout time that you can insert into your everyday conversation. But
it's different when you put it on the album and you make millions of dollars on it. That's not the same thing.
I'm not a JayZ fan, bro. At the end of the day, he probably got 1 or 2 songs I mess with when it's all said and done. So I'm not here to you know what I'm saying? Like I believe, bring them out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Like that's a Biggie line. Like there's some different Biggie line. It's like the nigga just heard Biggie's whole album, memorized that shit, and just sprinkled it throughout. All
right, so Jay's off the list. All right, so Nas and Biggie is still up there.
I'm not saying Jay's not on. I'm just saying.
No, what I'm saying is Jay's off the list. So that leaves for the 3 that we got in the title, which is Biggie, JayZ, or Nas. I've already said Tupac is the GOAT. You've already said Black Thought is the GOAT, but I'm just kind of going into the the Biggie and Nas part, right? So Biggie, phenomenal, did some amazing stuff. But him and Tupac was kind of like, I guess you could say the rivals, as far as content capability, lyrical ability, all that stuff, right? Stage presence, and we can go down the list, right? But Biggie wasn't Tupac. Tupac literally eclipsed Biggie while he was alive. That literally is a fact. Nas. Nas is one of the greatest storytellers. Shout out to Nas. I've been friends with his DJ for a lot of years, DJ LES. Shout out DJ LES, one of the greatest DJs in hip hop, real rap. Got a lot of respect for the brother. And Nas, yes, great storyteller, great rapper. GOAT MC of any single era. No. If you're talking about underground rap, I would say yes, absolutely. Because when we're talking about Illmatic, we're talking about one of the greatest hip hop albums ever created, arguably the greatest hip hop album ever created. But I don't think that that gives him the GOAT MC title. I think you got to add in more to that. So if it's all inclusive, then you even got to take him off the list. I mean, he might even be in the top 5, but he ain't number 1.
Well, all right. And this is all superficial. It's all based on what you think, what you feel, and I like that. These spark the conversation. These fuel these spirited conversations, and I love that. And that's dope. Because you get a chance to hear people, and we talk about like Tupac. That's just that's cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a Tupac kid, so it's hard to not engage in that conversation as such. But when I just can't unknow something. I just can't unknow that Black Dot's the greatest ever. Like there's no way you can unknow that, especially by hearing the bro, seeing the bro, Googling the bro, and getting all that. Because when you look at, and I just want to bring it back to, I want to just big up my guy. Because when you talk about Black Dot, you're talking about like masterful lyricism. Black Thought is renowned for its continuous multi-syllabic rhyme scheme, complex lyricism, and double entendres. Like this is a calling card for a Black Thought. I mean, impressive freestyle ability. His freestyle on Funk Master Flex show is legendary, showcasing his breath control, cadence, and delivery, and literary references. I mean, this is Black Thought, consistent quality over the years. Black Thought has maintained a high level of performance, delivering quality versus consistently cultural impact. That's how we're going to quantify that, because I was waiting for you to do the homework on your guy, but I'm going to do the homework on my guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to do my job. You feel what I'm saying?
What you said homework on my guy. You talking about Tupac?
Yeah, you
there's no homework to do. I don't need to do any homework. It's like when you talk about Tupac, when you're talking about Tupac in hip hop, it's like you're talking about Jesus in the Bible. All right. I don't need to sit back and tell you that he healed the people and he walked on the water and all this other kind of stuff. This is what you already know about Jesus, right? So Tupac, I don't need to give you a background of I don't need to give you any background. You've watched Above the Rim. You've heard 2 of America's Most Wanted. Like you already know his background, and the people do too. Like that's the reality. The people who are listening, Tupac is literally a household name. It's like Denzel. It's like Barack. It's like Obama or whatever. Like it's a one name kind of thing that stands out, right? Nas is not a name that stands out in people's homes unless you're melanated. But even in demelanated homes, people know who Tupac is. People don't know who Black Thought is most of the time. I guarantee you right now, you go out on the streets of Pittsburgh, right? Or Philadelphia, and you ask the average person walking up and down the street, who's Black Thought? I guarantee you at least 30 to 40% of them ain't gonna know who the hell he is. That's just the reality of how strong somebody like Tupac's persona was. That almost 30 years later being dead, his name is still ringing bells in people's houses all around the world.
Well, I'm going to say that because the Roots Fest is a summer pilgrimage for a lot of people, that there are people who know who Black Thought is, and there are people who are hip MC like purists, hip hop purists, who will tell you that Black Thought is just pound for pound the best. Now we talk about like precision flow and all this, and again, when you talk about an average, like I'm saying, there could be some that go higher and some that go lower. I just found I had to quantify who is the one. Like if we had to send one, we can't send them all. We got to send one. So if I had to take the average of all the MCs, like put them all together and all the words and like I gave you the equation, bro. Every word divided by every MC, it's going to equal Black Thought, period. It's just what it is, bro. Like I don't know how to re-explain or over-explain it outside of bigging up my bro. You know what I mean? Outside of just telling you all the great things that he's done, like from forming the Roots in 1987 to his breakthrough acclaim on Things Fall Apart, his 1999 album, his late night band. They've been on the Jimmy Fallon show since 2014, and previously Late Night with Jimmy Fallon from 2009 to 2014. His influence, I mean, he's ranked as one of the best the Roots by this the group that he was with, and that group sparked Scott Storch and a whole bunch of other musicians that went on to do great things. We talk about cultural relevance and cultural impact, and the reach that what he has created has done. And we're talking about people he's working with, Erykah Badu. I mean, he is definitely a flavor that you have to get with, because in this world, the flavor seems to be, kill everything, fuck everything, tear the club up, bitches giving me head, just over hypersexualized music. And you got the Sexy Reds and all these other people doing these things. I can see how true lyricism can be overlooked by this narrative. You know what I mean? By the hip hop.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
You know what I mean? So you have to go to a purist. I wouldn't even have this conversation. I had a conversation about it with a young boy, and he's talking about Lupe. I'm like, if you want to pull out a dictionary and a thesaurus to try to figure some shit out, because I feel like the beauty of an MC, this is what makes J. Cole to me in this new era. This is what makes J. Cole the best to me, is that he can take concepts and break them down into understandable bite-sized pieces. Like I don't like this is another thing with Drake. And Drake I'm not a Drake fan, but I like his witty approach to MCing. Like he's world witty. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I get that. I got that. That was cool. You know what I mean? He has a witty approach, but J. Cole is able to take stuff like losing your virginity. I never did this before. I never and make it a bop. Like, oh yeah, that's relatable. So when you get so that's the thing, is to break it down to that point. But when you talk about Lupe and the Oyster 5'9" and these dudes, I gotta pull out I'm doing the whole album on slave ships, and I gotta pull out thesauruses and dictionaries and stuff. Nah, I'm cool. I'll mess with you, bro, but I ain't doing all that shit, bro. I'm not taking a lecture to try to understand music, bro. Bro,
well, he doing what he's supposed to do, man. He teaching.
I'm not mad at that.
He doing lectures on hip hop and all that. So I get it, but I understand what you're saying. It's also about entertainment value.
And bro, and again, bro, and I get it. I just want to be able to be not entertained, but I want to be able to get it without, because if I'm riding around in the car, would I got time to pull out the thesaurus and try to figure out what nail was hammered to the boat, that, you know what I mean, and the type of wood that was used? And I'm cool, bro. Like, I get you, but Kick Push is dope, though. I messed with his earlier stuff. Kick Push was crazy. To this day, I might still bang that. I'm like, matter of fact, I'm at that on today. Put that on, because Kick Push is my joint. All the remixes too. And I'm not saying I don't like Lupe, but we talk about cadence and flow and understandability and all these other things. Nah. But I'm not mad at Lupe or Oyster 5'9" or anybody else. And then speaking of Oyster 5'9", people are sleeping on Joe Budden. Like, Joe Budden is not a slouch when it comes down to lyrics. In my opinion, Joe Budden beat Hollow the Dawn in that battle rap. If you look at bar for bar, Joe Budden killed Hollow the Dawn. Like, killed him. And then people say Hollow won. No, I don't think so. But yeah, everybody's welcome to their own opinion. But we talk about barred up, like, and I listen to Joe Budden. Like, I have his stuff like on my playlist. You feel me? Because he has dope lyrics.
Pump it
up. Albums, bro. Like, you gotta listen, do it. Pull up some Joe Budden, you'll be impressed. And there's other people, not only outside of Joe Budden, but who else was who I can consider like, I had somebody else I want to give honorable mention to, who people don't really give props to, but like I said, like Oyster 5'9", Joe Budden, Styles P. Oh my goodness. And we talk about Jada all the time, bro. In my opinion, if you listen to the locks, there was a point where Styles P was like, boom. He was like the standard. And then you start seeing Jada. Jada wasn't no slouch, but you start seeing Jada's style come up. You start seeing him start, rising up lyrically, and then ultimately, I would say that if he doesn't eclipse Styles P, they equal out on a lot of songs. You know what I mean? Sheesh Loach is just like the favorite flavor of the crew. He can rap and shit, but I'm not buying the Sheek album. But I'm gonna give honorable mention to my bro Styles P. Styles P is nice. Ghost Vibes, bro. Come on, bro. I got Ghost Vibes on my playlist, bro. In my car, I'll travel to that. That's on my Smoke and Ride playlist. Matter of fact, speaking of Smoke and Ride playlist, do a search on Spotify and pull up Smoke and Ride. Do a Smoke and Ride search under J.E. Gamble and download my playlist, my Smoke and Ride playlist. Just subscribe to that joint. That's that.
Hey y'all, so we coming to the end of the show, and I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening. Really appreciate y'all. You can follow us. We got the links in the description. I'm at F_H_T_II on Instagram. We got Action Figure. That's AXN_FGR. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's AXN_FGR_visuals on Instagram. Make sure y'all go and follow these pages. Stay up to date with us at Made7Pro on Instagram, FHTII.com. We got actionfigure.com that's coming. Y'all, hey, listen, actionfigure.com is coming. Y'all need to be prepared. My man JE is coming with something really special for y'all, right? Actionfigure.com is coming, right? So we got Root Tribes, all right? Y'all go visit Root Tribes, ROOTTRIBEZ.com. Go check out Root Tribes. We've got the answer to whole health there. We are the solution to whole health. Y'all come on over there and y'all get y'all a detox, get y'all a herbal combination. Y'all pick y'all up some healing serum. Y'all hit the contact, hit the contact page. Maybe there's something you need to talk about. Maybe you're dealing with an issue, right? I'm available, right? So thank y'all very much. We really appreciate y'all. Until next time, Jet Rising.